family, we are back. Welcome to Coach Chioma. We are knee deep in the holiest week for all Christians, and that is the week where Christ walks all the way to Calvary to sacrifice his life for our sake. Today, I'm just super excited because this is one of my favorite things to talk about, which is finding our identity by answering the question, what am I here to do? So this video, we're talking about finding our purpose. How exciting. Charlie, no. We're talking about finding our purpose. It is such an exciting conversation and yet mind-boggling conversation to have, because I know too many times where I felt like I found my purpose and then I'm like, no, it's not. And then again, you think you found your purpose and then you find out, no, it's not. I was drinking milk as a Christian at that time, and I was going with what I believed until I had this radical shift in how I saw the whole idea of finding my purpose, as though it was something I was supposed to look for by myself. But what I came to realize is, in order for you to find your purpose, it's important for you to understand that, first of all, you were created by a loving, genuine, unconditionally forgiving, gracious, and very kind God in heaven. And he created you for a purpose that he had already set out for you prior to you being created, because he already knew you before you were created. And if he created you magnificently and wonderfully, that means that every single thing inside you is all meant to work out for good. You're supposed to use all of that for good works. I believe that every single person's purpose, this is my belief, and call me crazy and wild, but I believe that every single person's purpose is to do good works, which is works that bring glory to God. And I believe that we are supposed to utilize every single gift that he has given us to do such good work. So in the other video, I know that we talked about what is good work. Good work is work that glorifies God. Good work is work that brings honor to God. And good work is work that is formed on the foundation of love, and it is work that actually pours love and value into other people. Good work is work that doesn't focus on who we are, but more so on who God is. That's good work. So I believe that in order for you to find your purpose, do whatever it is you're doing, wherever it is that you are, as a form of worship and glorification to God in heaven. Be kind, be compassionate, be merciful to the people that are around you, and therein lies your purpose. I think that a lot of times that we confuse our purpose with something that makes money. And I believe that, God put us here. We're supposed to work. We're supposed to work because the Bible says who doesn't work will not eat. So we're supposed to work. But at the same time, I know that God blesses who he blesses. And I also know that the principles that are created in life were created by God. And so there's certain things that if you do will likely result to certain things, right? And so there's nothing wrong with doing good work that brings money. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. The question is, are you doing good work because of the money? Or are you doing good works for the glory for yourself? Or are you doing good works because you love God and you respect God and you just want to glorify him, and in your way of working, you're really thanking him for the many things that he's done for you? And there's a part of the Bible that says, that when we all die and we get to heaven and we go, God, and God says, I don't know you. When I was sick, you didn't come and visit. When I was in prison, you didn't come say hi. When I was out on the roadside, you didn't feed me. And we go, what do you mean? And he said, whatever you do to the least of my brothers, you do unto me. So as a way of glorifying God, it's in your service to other people. So I think on a daily basis, if we're asking ourselves, in this space that I'm in, with the gifts that I have, am I blessing people? But not blessing people to be seen, or blessing people to feel good, or blessing people so that others will say, oh my God, this person is such a good person. But blessing people from this genuine place of, man, I am so thankful for all the things that God has given me, for the things that the places that God has held me and walked me through. And I know that everything I have has been given to me, and I'm a steward of these things. And the way in which I want to be a good steward is to give it right back to Him. I'm not going to hold on to these things like they're mine, because they aren't mine. These are gifts that God has given me. So the way God gives it to me so freely, I'm going to leave it so that He can take it away so freely. And a lot of times I think that we begin to possess and want to hold on to the things that we have. And so our minds and the reason why we're doing it then shifts. We're no longer doing it as a form of worship. We're doing it because maybe we're afraid. So for some of us, we're afraid of being poor. And so we strive so much to be rich and wealthy because we never want to be poor again, versus you wanting to make money, and in the way in which you make money, you're glorifying God that way. And when you do make money, you're not just hoarding up your money in the bank, right? Because you do all that for what? At the end of the day, you do that, you lose your life. But when you're willing to let go of everything that you have in order to follow Christ, that's when you're really, really doing work. That's when you've severed ties from all these possessions that we have on earth. Good work is also being a good steward of your time. It's being a good steward of your emotional space, right? Meaning that, how are we using our time? Are we making out time to glorify God? Are we making out time to reconnect with Him? Or are we spending time distracting ourselves with everything that's going on in the world and not taking time to actually bond with Him? That's all part of good works. When God calls us to live and live life abundantly, it's not just in making money and being wealthy. It's not just in being recognized. It's in the service. It's in us being able to serve our brothers and our sisters. So sometimes, you might see someone who is working a job in some weird space, and they look so fulfilled. And we want to be judgmental because we go, he doesn't even realize that he's built for more than that. Sometimes where they are is where they are not just finding fulfillment, but maybe where they are and choosing to stay are the places where everybody wants to run away from. And they believe that that's their calling, to be in that space, to feed the people who are there, to serve the people who are there. If all of us want to become all these multimillionaires and wealthy people, what about everyone else? What about everyone else? So I believe that God has created us all as shepherds for different flock. If you want to know your purpose, one is for you to get on your knees and pray and talk to God and ask Him, what does He want of you? What? Number two is genuinely begin to chase a very intimate relationship with God, in a way where every single thing you want to do in your life is to bring glory to Him and not glory to yourself or to other people. Number three, sit down and figure out, what are you good at? We take our talents for granted. Sometimes we even go, oh, our talents mean nothing. They mean a lot. These are gifts that God has given us. And sometimes minimizing them and going, oh, talents mean nothing, is a slap in the face. It's like, are you serious? God made you and put these talents inside of you, and then you devalue it. No. When God gives you talents, you take it and you multiply those talents. You multiply them. So if God has given you a gift of empathy, there's some of us who are just so empathetic. There are some of us who just grind and are just extra disciplined. And it's not because they've done anything extraordinary. It's just part of their makeup. And you don't realize that these are some of the strengths and the talents and the gifts that God has given you. So first of all, don't minimize it. Second of all, don't project it onto other people having expectations that they should do the same thing you've done. And you don't realize that it's pride that's leading you because you don't know that yours is a gift. So find the things that you're good at. And if you don't know what you're good at, like I have heard so many people so many times say, I don't know what I'm good at. You are so far from the truth, you don't even realize it. One of the easiest ways for you to figure out what you're good at is just find the first 5 or 6 people in your circle that know you. Family, friends, your parishioners, your pastor, people at work especially, and just ask them. You can give them a tool. It would be, you can find that in my worksheet. You can just go on Google and just research top 100 values, top 100 gifts, top 100 talents. And then you find the people who really care about you that will be able to take the time, because it is a sacrificial act for them to sit down for maybe 15 minutes to go through those things and then highlight the things that remind them of you. Sometimes just giving them that and having them just tell them, hey, do you mind just giving me feedback on how I show up, what my strengths are? And let them highlight it. And I promise you that you will see a lot of similarities in some of the responses that you're seeing from them. And then sit with them. Just take out like 30 minutes and sit with them and ask them to please explain to you how that particular value shows up. Why do they think that that is a strength of yours? Sometimes you need people to mirror to you the things that you don't even see. Sometimes you need to step away from pride and realize that, there are parts of you that you do not see. There are parts of you that I believe that other people can see so clearly that you don't even realize. So asking them for that kind of feedback is absolutely valuable in you finding your purpose. And then from that, begin to cultivate that. Begin to cultivate those gifts. Don't bury the gifts in the sand and then think something magical is going to happen. No. People get to a point where they cultivate their gifts and they begin to master their gifts simply because they take out the time that's needed to put in effort into learning things, especially as the seasons change. Technology becoming so crazy. Take me, for example. I am an artist. I've always loved to paint for a long time. And then after a while, I sort of just lost my knack for painting. I probably went through a season or something happened and I just didn't really want to paint anymore. And after a while, I sat down and I asked myself, I'm like, why am I just not being serious about my gift of art? That's not even a good thing, And then one day I realized I hadn't given it up. I had just shifted my creativity. I thought that my talent was in the actual painting, not realizing that the gift that God gave me was in the creation of the painting. And then I realized that same gift, I could create different types of art. So that's when I found out that my love for creativity had moved online. My love for creativity had moved to more digital products. My love for creativity had moved into utilizing Canva to create, contents and all whatnot. And it was a good thing for me to realize that, because then I fully understood how the effort that I was putting into my creativity, I was putting it into the creative space that I actually did enjoy. And then secondly, I'm now using that creativity as a way of worship. It wasn't something I was doing before, but it's something that I'm learning to do right now. So if you are struggling to figure out what it is that God has put you here to do, it is simple. And I believe it applies to every believer. And God has brought you into this world to worship Him, to love Him. And to love Him, a God that you do not see, is to love your fellow brothers and sisters. So with every single gift He has given you, with every single talent He has given you, with every single resource that He has given you, take all of that and return it back to the God who gave you. That's it really for this video. Thank you guys so much for following me through this entire series. I'm just so excited that it is over. I'm sorry guys, it's Charlie still. I am so excited that it is over, and wanted to just introduce you guys to the next one that we're going to be talking about, and it has to do with overcoming the storms of life. And that 8-part video series is going to be a little bit harder for me because I'm going to be sharing some vulnerable stories about my life, things that I've gone through, some very, very tough seasons that I've been in, some of the mistakes that I made that impacted me in a very negative way, the shame that I carried for so long that I am finally healed from, and also anxiety and depression. I want to be able to talk about these things and talk about going through storms the right way that I believe that God desires for us to go through the stormy times in our lives. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Hey guys, if you want a copy of my Know Thyself workbook, it is a 56-page workbook that I created about 3 years ago while I was going through the journey of finding myself. So if you want to do the exercise, it's going to be located in the workbook, and I have it on my website for $4.99. I'll post it in the description.